Tonight's special feature, which comes about the state of cheetahs. After all the publicity around Project Cheetah, the fact is the death of 6 cheetahs, 3 adults and 3 cubs, have raised questions over the project. Last week we had wildlife expert Valmik Thapar saying that the entire project needed to be reviewed. What exactly is the ground situation, especially in Kuno National Park of Madhya Pradesh? That's our other focus tonight.
The reintroduction of the cheetahs in India. A bold experiment flagged off by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. 20 cheetahs were brought from Namibia and South Africa to the Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh, which is becoming India's hub for cheetahs. But now, the death of 6 cheetahs, including 3 cubs, in a span of just 2 months, has jolted a section of wildlife experts. One of the adult cheetahs died in a mating incident, another due to a kidney ailment, and the third due to intense heat.
इन दुर्लभ प्रजातियों को कोनों में रखा गया है और जिस तरह से मौत हो रही है वो कहीं ना कहीं इशारा कर रही है कि स्थिति वहाँ पे गंभीर होती जा रही है। मौत और जो कैजुअल्टीज का जो भी प्रोजेक्ट में डिटेल था वो ये था, उम्मीद की गई थी कि होगी, लेकिन इतनी तेज रफ्तार से मौत होना ये दुखद है। मध्य प्रदेश सरकार चीता प्रोजेक्ट में जो भी वाइल्ड लाइफ ट्रेन कमिटेड ऑफिसर्स है उनको फील्ड पे उतारे और जो एक्शन प्लान में जो ईमानदारी से जो भी बिंदु है उन पर फॉलो किया जाए।
The central and state governments held a series of meetings this week to take stock of the situation.
मैं थोड़ा परेशान था, बीच में हम चीते लेके आए और उनमें से 3 चीते नहीं रहे। व्यवस्थाएं हमारा संभव करेंगे, लेकिन अक्सर सर्वाइवल जो रेट रहता है बच्चों का तो काफी कम होता है। कहते हैं 10 में से 1 बच्चा ही सर्वाइव कर पाता है चीते का।
When Project Cheetah was conceived, wildlife parks in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh were considered. The Kuno National Park was selected after much deliberation. Its stable temperature of between 35 to 40 degrees during summers is similar to Namibia. Kuno National Park also doesn't see extreme winters or rains. The grasslands of Kuno are also seen to be ideal for cheetah habitation. Experts believe up to 36 cheetahs can be relocated to Kuno.
Death of 6 cheetahs in just 3 months raises serious question mark over the Project Cheetah in India. This has now forced the Madhya Pradesh government to settle down the world's fastest running animal in other national parks of Madhya Pradesh along with the Kuno National Park now. With cameraman Amrish in Bhopal, this is Ravishpal Singh for India Today.
So how serious is the threat to Project Cheetah? I'm joined by a very special guest. Vincent van der Merwe is a conservationist based in South Africa, and they have been very much part in a way of this project in India. Mr. van der Merwe, thanks very much for taking the time off to join us. 6 cheetah deaths now in 2 months. You have been quoted as saying the worst is still to come. What do you mean by that? What are your fears?
My greatest concern is that with all of these mortalities, you know, the Indian media will put a lot of pressure on the authorities, and animal rights groups will put a lot of pressure on the authorities in South Africa, and that we will give up on this reintroduction. Reintroduction is a very long road to success. It takes many years of failure, many cheetah mortalities before you achieve reintroduction success. So these mortalities that we are observing are perfectly normal. They're perfectly within the expected mortality rates that we anticipated before we started this project. And I just hope that the Indian conservation authorities don't lose faith, and we keep focused on the end goal, which is to have wild cheetah populations back in India.
So you're in a way saying don't be alarmist at this moment, while at the same time, in a way, you're not ruling out the deaths of more cheetahs while this relocation, translocation takes place.
Oh, I mean, it's an absolute certainty. In the next year, we will lose at least another 7 cheetah. That is a certainty. So, cheetah have naturally high mortality rates. There's a lot of factors against them. But you must remember that we have 50 cheetah every year that we can make available for reintroductions from South Africa. We have too many cheetah in this country. We got to keep pushing, and we got to use these animals, and we got to make mistakes, and we got to learn from our mistakes, and we've got to use adaptive management to eventually prevail in India.
But what's the best way forward? You're saying that we should stick to Project Cheetah, but should we be creating more safe zones, fencing of areas in the national parks for the cheetah? How will that mitigate in a way to the danger to the cheetahs, many of whom who have died of either heat or mating incidents or other ailments?
Yes, I mean, so what the fences will do is they will prevent extreme ranging behavior. So, these cheetahs are being introduced into an environment where there's no other signs of cheetah. So the natural thing for a cheetah to do when it's released into a new environment is to look for signs of other cheetah. And if it doesn't find these signs of other cheetah, it will just continue walking. Fencing certain areas will enable you to manage them in a smaller area. Now, for Kuno management, to manage 20 cheetahs in Kuno National Park and outside of Kuno National Park is a massive task. If you take some of those cheetahs and you put them into Mukundra Hills, where it's 8,000 hectares and completely fenced, your logistics are so much easier. It's so much easier to manage those cheetah, to monitor them. The threat of escape is gone. The threat of human-wildlife conflict is gone. I mean, just last night we saw one of the Indian, this last week we saw one of the Indian monitoring crews getting attacked by a community living on the surrounding area of Kuno National Park. Having fences will prevent these kinds of problems.
So just one final question. Are you suggesting then, Mr. Van der Merwe, that we should redistribute these cheetahs to other parks possibly? Is that something that you think should be deliberated? Don't put all the focus on Kuno, distribute them more widely.
Okay, so yes, I think it's a wonderful idea to spread the risk, to take some of the cheetah to other national parks, because it'll ease the workload on Kuno. Then Kuno doesn't have to look after all of these cheetah. And, you don't, with cheetah reintroduction, you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket and risk all of the cheetahs in one reserve, because we don't know at this point in time if Kuno is good for cheetah. But if you move them to other reserves, like Mukundra Hills, Noradehi, or Gandhi Saga, then you're spreading the risk. And then you have, with any cheetah population, you have sink populations and you have source populations. We don't know if Kuno is going to be a sink population or if it's going to be a source population. So it'll be good to spread the risk, to move them to different areas. And if you have different parks, then you will have, certainly amongst them, you will have source populations. And amongst those different parks, you will have sink populations, and you are spreading the risk.
Van der Merwe, for joining me there from South Africa at a moment when there are questions being raised over Project Cheetah, for settling some of those concerns. I appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.